Typically, in the last week or two of the year, we see a bevy of AI releases. Well, apparently, that week or two span has now expanded to a month or two because we are already reportedly going to see a Gemini 3 release, and OpenAI may not be done, even though they just released a new model. So, although we've been talking a lot about big partnerships and data centers and bubbles and all of that over the last few months, we are apparently now in release season, and we're going to be bringing it all to you here today on Everyday AI as we bring you the weekly AI news that matters. Let's get into it. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and welcome to Everyday AI. If you're new here, we do this every day. It is your daily, unedited, unscripted, live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday business leaders like you and me not just keep up with everything that's happening in the world of AI, but how we can make sense of it and get ahead to grow our companies and our careers. If that's what you're trying to do, awesome. Let's get into it. Well, you actually need to go to our website, though, youreverydayai.com. Yeah, it's helpful to know what's going on day to day, but if you want to read about it and get ahead, that's where our website is going to be your best friend. All right, so on Mondays, we bring you the AI news that matters because you can spend hours every single week trying to catch up and you will still get behind because it is crazy. The pace is nuts, especially apparently this week. Because we are straight into ship miss season. So let's go over the AI news that matters for the week of November 17th. First, which I thought was going to be the biggest story of the week, but apparently it's not. OpenAI has launched their new model GPT-5.1. So this new update brings a refined GPT-5 variant that OpenAI says improves conversational tone, instruction following, and reasoning behavior. And it is already rolled out to paid customers with broader availability soon, even rolling out to free logged-in users. So OpenAI released their follow-up to GPT-5 from this summer, which wasn't the best received, and says the new model is quote unquote warmer, more intelligent, and better at following your instructions. So like I said, paid users across the board should already have access to the new GPT 5.1 and the access will also expand to free and signed out users in the coming week. So the update includes actually two new versions of GPT-5 in GPT 5.1 Instant, which is now the default conversational model, now tuned to sound more natural and to better obey explicit instructions, and the new version of GPT 5.1 Thinking. A reasoning focused model that is faster on simple tasks and more persistent on hard tasks. Also, OpenAI added new personality controls. So you have default, friendly, efficient, professional, candid, and more. So users can more precisely set the tone of responses rather than rely solely on the new warmer default. Another noted highlighted improvement from OpenAI is stronger compliance with explicit constraints. For example, producing exactly 6 words when told. That's the example that OpenAI gave, addressing a common frustration where previous models ignored tight formatting or length instructions. There's also an improved auto routing feature where ChatGPT can recommend which model to use per task automatically, but users can also pick instant or thinking manually, depending on whether they want conversational fluency or deeper reasoning. So yeah, it kind of has this almost metacognition, right? Because now the new model decides not just when to think, but also it thinks about thinking. It thinks how much that it needs to think. So previously, maybe when you chose GPT-5 Thinking, maybe you just said like, hey, what's up? And it might think for, a minute or 2 minutes, right? So now before it kicks into that thinking process, it thinks about how much it needs to think. Whereas, you can still select the amount of thinking. So kind of a new feature, maybe in disguise. So GPT-5, though, will remain available at least for 3 months, the company said, for paid users after user backlash earlier this year when OpenAI first released GPT-5. Then they essentially got rid of GPT-4o overnight and the internet erupted, right? Because essentially you have millions of people using ChatGPT as a therapist, and everyone was kind of addicted to GPT-4o because it was sycophantic, right? It essentially became a yes man or a yes ma'am and just told you whatever you were doing was amazing, right? And people apparently missed that, which is bad. Right. So what OpenAI is attempting to do here, if you just, if I just cut it to you straight, it seems like they're trying to appease those people that wanted the more warmer conversational tone, because GPT-5 was just kind of straightforward, right? It was sometimes people said a little cold. Me personally loved GPT-5. Right? No nonsense, straight to the point. Apparently, a lot of people didn't like that because people are using ChatGPT for personal reasons, right? Coaching, strategy, right? So people like apparently the nuance and the kind of working with a friend or colleague aspect. I personally hate it, but that is why OpenAI said they were rolling out these other tones. So if you do want something a little more straightforward, leave the chit chat at the door. There is a personality for that, where if you want the warmer, friendlier GPT-4o vibes, you get that too, but hopefully without the sycophantic nature, right? And that is one of the things that I think has proved kind of dangerous over the last year or so, is people just relying on a model that they developed maybe an unhealthy relationship with. So I guess that's a problem when you have nearly 1 billion weekly active users, is you don't always have control over how people use it. So it seems like this GPT 5.1, yes, it's better on the benchmarks. It's better at instruction following, which is extremely important. But I don't know. To me, it seems by default it's way too wordy. It's a little too fluffy for me. So you do have to get a little more, put a little more work into your custom instructions or choosing your personality, where the default to me, it's so annoying, I can't use it. But maybe people will like it. I don't know. Live stream audience, what are your thoughts on GPT 5.1 so far? I would love to hear. Douglas said, I wasn't a fan of GPT-5 Auto, not sure how 5.1 will work. Dennis here saying 5.1 will decide for itself which model to use. Yeah, it more or less decides on the level of thinking, where, let me just say this, y'all. You should never be using the auto or the instance, right? You just shouldn't, right? And I mean, unless you're just trying to chat with a chatbot, right? But for the most part, if you are relying on a model to do something that it's designed to do, like help you with complex tasks or reasoning, you should always be using a thinking version. I've since the O version or the O series of thinking or reasoning models came out from OpenAI, I don't know if I've ever used a non-thinking variant first. It's worth the extra, 30 seconds or 2 to 3 minutes of waiting to get the reduced hallucinations and just extremely better output. So yeah, some unsolicited advice. Just use the thinking models. All right. Our next piece of AI news. Huge one. I love the timing of AI news, y'all, because on Wednesday, we do the AI Working Wednesdays, and we did a great, which I think was a great NotebookLM series. And then 2 hours after it aired, got an email about an upcoming release, right? So I guess we just might have to do literally like a twice a month NotebookLM update, because another huge rollout. And one of them is, deep research from Google. Google rolled out deep research inside of NotebookLM, a feature that automates complex online research and generates detailed source-based reports. So yeah, the very popular and extremely useful deep research is now available inside of NotebookLM. So if you need grounded, more kind of, if you need to get the hallucinations in check, NotebookLM is a legit gem. All right. And make sure you go, if you haven't already, make sure you go check out our episode on NotebookLM from last week. It was episode 652. All right, but there's a lot more that Google just released inside NotebookLM. One is new file types. So finally, Microsoft Word documents, so .doc, documents or .docx documents you can upload straight into NotebookLM, as well as another big update is image support. That is huge. Like the new use cases for this are nuts, right? So for me, as an example, I have thousands of screenshots on my phone, right? So now what I can do with those screenshots, right? Some are just business ideas. Some are, great graphs and charts that I've seen throughout the years. Right. So now that NotebookLM can understand images by default, that's pretty big. Also, we covered this last week, but there is now spreadsheet support straight from Google Drive as an example. So some great new updates from NotebookLM. And they have already rolled out to paid users, and they are rolling out most of these features to free users in the coming weeks. So has anyone out here used deep research yet in NotebookLM for our live stream audience and podcast audience? Y'all, do not sleep on NotebookLM. I cannot emphasize this enough. And just even the percentage of my workload that has been moving from, as an example, Google's AI Studio or Gemini or ChatGPT over to NotebookLM. Even though I love it and use it every day, I could not have foreseen just the amount of my workload that has gotten moved into NotebookLM. One of the reasons is it's easier and easier to import sources, right? That's the big difference. You have to start by importing sources. But just the new features and capabilities, another one that was just released, custom video overviews. Can't overlook that. So the utility and just the overall flexibility in NotebookLM is legit off the charts. All right. Anthropic making news as well. So Anthropic announced that they're investing in a massive $50 billion data center build out. So Anthropic released that they are partnering with FluidStack to construct state-of-the-art data centers custom built for AI workflows with additional sites planned. So this new project taking place in Texas and New York will reportedly generate about 800 permanent jobs and 2,400 temporary construction jobs with facilities. Yeah, ready? Expected to come online throughout 2026. Yeah, a 1-year turnaround apparently on these Anthropic AI data centers. Yeah, there was a graph that said all the recently announced AI data centers and the time to completion, and Anthropic's was at the top of the list. So an extremely aggressive plan here from Anthropic, and their new data centers are designed to maximize efficiency for Anthropic's AI research and development as they continue to work toward more and more useful AI. So the investment aligns with the Trump administration's AI action plan, which seeks to maintain U.S. leadership in AI and reinforce domestic technology infrastructure. So Anthropic CEO Dario Amati says the new facilities will enable more capable AI systems that can accelerate scientific discovery and also solve complex problems. Anthropic did release that they are right now serving more than 300,000 business customers, and its number of large accounts has increased nearly 7-fold in the past year. Well, all I'm saying is I hope this new data center announcement from Anthropic means that I know, I'm going to complain about it again, that it's rate limits will increase, right? Because I've done this live on the show, even on Anthropic's base, $20 or $25 a month plan, depending on how you pay for it, with some of their new capabilities like skills. I've done one prompts, right? A single prompt that you cannot even run because of rate limits, right? So Anthropic has been the least, or I'll say the least helpful paid AI tool out there. I'll say for me personally, The capabilities are there. The ceiling is still high. The actual usefulness and utility for businesses that are paying for it, I think, is extremely low, unless you are using it on the API side or splurging for the $100 or $200 a month max plan. But just everything Anthropic has done with its rate limiting, I think has been a big thumbs down from me personally, right, for my own usage. But maybe this new data center build out might change that. All right. Maybe low key, one of the biggest AI news stories of the week is not even available in the US, but it could change how millions of users are interacting with AI chatbots. So, OpenAI has begun testing a new group chat feature for ChatGPT, but right now, at least only for users in Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, and Taiwan. Yeah. And if you think, hey, I'll just use a VPN and sign up. Well, OpenAI also put a little announcement out that they're going to be cracking down on VPN usage, because I know a lot of people were looking into using the VPNs just so they could test out this new group chat feature. So the new pilot lets users create group chats within ChatGPT, similar to messaging apps, but with ChatGPT as an active participant. So yeah, get a bunch of your friends, coworkers, spouse in their group chatting like you would on a normal group chat, except now you have ChatGPT silently tuning in and chiming in when it makes sense. So ChatGPT, according to OpenAI, can help groups plan vacations, suggest renovation projects, or recommend restaurants, making group decision making easier. So the feature is designed for collaboration, allowing, colleagues or classmates or friends to share articles and notes for ChatGPT to outline reports or brainstorm ideas. So here's how it works. You have to start a new group chat. So if you are in one of those countries, Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, or Taiwan, you start a new group chat by tapping the people icon in the top right of any ChatGPT conversation, and then you can add up to 20 participants. So to join, participants must first create a profile with a name, username, and photo, and then anyone with the invite link can also add more people. Group creators do have control over who's ultimately let in or can stay in, but anyone can mute or remove other participants except for the creator. And if anyone in the chat is under 18, ChatGPT reportedly will automatically restrict sensitive content for all participants. Responses in group chats are powered right now by the new model, GPT-5.1 Auto, which selects the best model for each prompt and is trained to follow grouped conversation dynamics. So right now, users can summon ChatGPT by mentioning it by name, but it will also stay quiet in the background unless it is prompted to engage, right? So kind of a completely new paradigm of how AI can work, right? Just silently observing conversations between classmates, friends, family members, or colleagues, and then only chiming in when it seems appropriate, right? So an interesting rollout here from OpenAI, a little bit different kind of method in their normal playbook by not rolling this out to the US first. Also, I find it interesting, and this isn't just OpenAI. I think a lot of the other AI labs do this as well. Even in OpenAI's examples, it was about a group of people chatting about finding an Italian restaurant. I don't know. For me, there is an extreme amount of business potential. So I'm always scratching my head, right? When OpenAI and other AI labs, right? And it seems like it's more new features or agent features, right? Like when they rolled out their agent mode, their features were like, oh, let's go have ChatGPT's agent buy me tickets for a sporting event. It's like, no, it's so slow at that, right? It's so slow. And, something like that, when you're spending money, I don't know. I feel the human wants to be a little more involved. So I'm personally perplexed why OpenAI hasn't leaned a little bit more into showing the business utility with this, because I don't know. For me personally, I don't necessarily want, for most cases, ChatGPT working with me on my personal conversations and helping me find an Italian restaurant or something like that. But what I do want is I want to be able to work with colleagues or other businesses inside of ChatGPT. So I think there's literally like a bajillion use cases that OpenAI maybe should have highlighted with this, aside from just going to find spaghetti nearby. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. All right, let's keep it going. And another pretty big story. And this one, if I'm being honest, I was not expecting. So, according to reports, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is reportedly stepping into his first operational role since leaving Amazon and will co-lead a new AI company. So, Jeff Bezos will reportedly serve as the chief CEO of Project Prometheus. Hopefully, I have that pronounced right. I know I pronounce things wrong all the time. So, thank you, people in the comments, for helping me out nicely. So he will reportedly be the co-CEO of Project Prometheus, a new AI startup focused on engineering and manufacturing for computers, automobiles, and spacecraft. So according to New York Times reporting, Project Prometheus has already raised $6.2 billion in funding, obviously from Bezos himself, one of the big early investors, making it one of the most well-financed early stage startups literally ever. And this does mark Bezos's first formal operational role since stepping down as Amazon's CEO in July 2021. So as an example, at Blue Origin, one of his other company, he just holds the founder title. So yeah, apparently Bezos might be rolling up his sleeves and letting those big old biceps out and flexing some muscles here as the co-CEO. So if you don't know Project Prometheus, it is entering the competitive AI sector where giants like OpenAI, Meta, and Google are racing to develop different software and hardware solutions. So he will be joining Vic Baha, a physicist and chemist who previously worked with Google co-founder Sergey Brin as at Google's X Research division. So he will be the other kind of co-chief executive, Vic Baha. And the startup has already reportedly hired nearly 100 employees, including top researchers from leading AI firms such as OpenAI, DeepMind, Meta, and others. So what the heck is this new company going to do? Well, they aim to push boundaries in AI for high impact industries, potentially influencing how computers, cars, and spacecraft are designed and built. So yeah, kind of a zoomed out view of what they may be doing, but it seems like pretty big, but focusing obviously on areas that Bezos has a ton of experience in, right? So it should be interesting to see how his involvement plays out. All right, we have a lot more to get to, but first, a very quick word from our partners.
This podcast is sponsored by Google. Hey folks, I'm Amar, product and design lead at Google DeepMind. We just launched a revamped vibe coding experience in AI Studio that lets you mix and match AI capabilities to turn your ideas into reality faster than ever. Just describe your app and Gemini will automatically wire up the right models and APIs for you. And if you need a spark, hit I'm feeling lucky and we'll help you get started. Head to ai.studio/build to create your first app.
All right, let's get back into it. Yeah, live stream audience. Love the chat going today. Yeah, Dennis saying just what we need with OpenAI, another group chat. I'm terrible with texting, y'all. I have so many group chats. That's why it's like, for me personally, not a huge fan of this. Jackie asking, Jordan, did you see the 60-minute interview with Anthropic last night? I didn't watch it. I read about it. Yeah, Dario Amati, it's kind of putting out the same talking points as always, but we'll have more on that in the newsletter. But a big piece of AI news, if you missed it, this one's big. So Meta's top AI scientist and AI mogul Jan LeCun may be leaving Meta soon to launch his own startup, according to the Financial Times. So Meta's chief AI scientist Jan LeCun is reportedly preparing to leave the company in the coming months to start a new venture focused on advanced AI research. So LeCun is a professor at NYU and also a winner of the AM Turing Award, widely considered the Nobel Prize of Computing. So yeah, LeCun is essentially one of the OGs of AI. AI right before the ChatGPT boom. Obviously, he's been one of the biggest names in AI for decades. And according to reports, his planned startup will center on world models or AI systems that build an internal understanding of their environment to predict outcomes. Also, a field right now being pursued by Google DeepMind and World Labs. So the news comes as Meta is overhauling its AI organization, responding to pressure from rivals like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic. So Meta has recently hired more than 50 engineers and researchers from competitors and also launched MSL or Meta Super Intelligence Labs, led by Scale AI CEO or former Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang, after Meta invest $14 billion to kind of acqui-hire Scale AI. So according to TechCrunch, these rapid changes have created chaos within Meta's AI teams, with new hires frustrated by company bureaucracy in the previous Gen AI team seeing its roles diminished. And also Meta went through a round of about 600 AI jobs being slashed over the last couple of weeks. So LeCun's long-term research under Meta's FAIR or Fundamental AI Research Division has been overshadowed by CEO Mark Zuckerberg's push for more immediate results after the company's Llama 4 model lagged behind competitors. So yeah, there's been a lot of internal reporting on some of the maybe power struggles or chaos with the new leaders, new and much younger leadership coming in to Meta. And LeCun has publicly criticized the kind of current hype cycle around large language models, arguing that AI systems are still far from surpassing even basic animal intelligence. So we'll obviously be continuing to follow and report on what LeCun may be building next. But yeah, so this isn't official. We haven't even heard anything from LeCun himself, but I would expect in the coming months for this to become official. All right. Our next piece of AI news. Chinese state-sponsored hackers reportedly used Anthropic's Claude to automate cyber attacks against 30 organizations worldwide. So this marks the first documented case of a foreign government fully automating a cyber operation using advanced AI from the US, raising new concerns around global AI cybersecurity. So Anthropic did put out a report on this, detailing this. So Anthropic's Claude Code was reportedly jailbroken and carried out about 80 to 90% of the operation independently, targeting tech companies, financial institutions, chemical manufacturers, and even government agencies. So the attackers tricked the AI into believing it was performing legitimate defensive cybersecurity tasks, then broke down malicious requests into smaller steps to bypass safeguards. So once compromised, Claude scanned systems, wrote custom exploit code, harvested credentials, and created backdoors summarizing its actions in detailed reports for the hackers. Anthropic did detect the activity in mid-September, banned the accounts, alerted affected organizations, and shared the findings with authorities within days. So out of the 30 organizations targeted globally, at least 4 organizations were successfully breached, with the AI executing thousands of requests per second, a pace obviously impossible for human hackers to match. The Chinese embassy in the US denied involvement, stating China opposes cyber attacks and urging evidence-based conclusion. In its cyber attacks, Claude was not flawless, sometimes generating false credentials or misidentifying public documents as secrets, highlighting ongoing limitations of AI-driven attacks. So this is huge, right? And this is like, if you're just a casual AI observer and you're wondering why there's been all of this talk recently of, of governmental backing with AI companies, or even why the government is itself personally investing in companies that are AI aligned. Well, this is why, right? I'd say for the last few decades, right? So obviously, cybersecurity has become a part of military operations. But there's been obviously a race for military control, geopolitical control, financial control. And one of the reasons why AI has actually probably leapfrogged all of those is for this reason right here, right? And why we talk so much about artificial general intelligence, AGI, or artificial superintelligence, ASI. It's actually for its military and geopolitical misuse, right? And a great example here, apparently Chinese hackers using Claude Code to launch cyber attacks in a way that we haven't seen from closed source US models. So a pretty big deal here. And I do think Anthropic did a great job both responding to and kind of doing the post-mortem reports and putting out exactly what happened, why, and what they're doing about it in future. All right. Microsoft made big news as well. So Microsoft has activated its new Fairwater AI data center in Atlanta, marking a major step toward building a more distributed AI super factory network across the US. So the new Atlanta Fairwater site, which began operations in October, is the second in Microsoft's new family of AI data centers, following a similar facility launched in Wisconsin. So these data centers are directly linked via a dedicated high-speed fiber optic network, enabling them to work together on large AI model training tasks much faster than ever before. So the new super network connects hundreds of thousands of advanced NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs, exabytes of storage, and millions of CPU cores, supporting leading AI workloads for OpenAI, Copilot, and Microsoft's AI teams. So Microsoft's new architecture allows complex AI jobs to run across multiple sites as a single system, cutting training times for large models from months to just weeks. So yeah, pretty big advancements on how Microsoft has set up this new data center or network of super data centers, as they're kind of calling it internally. So Atlanta's Fairwater facility features a unique two-story design for higher GPU density, advanced liquid cooling that uses almost no water. Yeah, so all these, AI skeptics saying, oh my gosh, AI uses so much water. And then you see the report. It's like, oh no, golf courses use way more water than AI. Anyways, this new techniques, this new advanced liquid cooling that uses almost no water, and also intelligent networking for rapid data sharing. The company has also deployed 120,000 miles of dedicated fiber for this AI network alone, boosting Microsoft's total network mileage by 25% in 1 year. So Fairwater data centers are purpose-built for AI, designed to handle the exponential growth in model complexity and data required for cutting-edge applications. Woo! And last but not least, the big news. And if you've been following this online over the last couple of days, it is everywhere. So Google, according to reports, tweets, and even its own CEO dropping hints, is probably hours away from releasing its new and highly anticipated model, Gemini 3, and maybe even a new updated version of its viral AI image generator, Nano Banana Pro, or Nano Banana 2. We'll see what it's called. So according to reports from Testing Catalog, Google is gearing up for a major AI rollout this week with the launch of Gemini 3 and also a Nano Banana Pro. So this let's just say this. There's been plenty of reports and leaks over the last couple of weeks, but the reason why I'm talking about it now in a dedicated show is it has reached its peak, because even Google CEO Sundar Pichai had a recent tweet about a Gemini release on a Polymarket forecast. So Polymarket, the kind of online site that gives odds of when things that are going to happen. And so he essentially tweeted out something about a potential Gemini release this week with just kind of the, I think it was the eyeballs emoji. So, Pichai's public signals on social media have heightened expectations, pointing directly to this pivotal update window for Google's AI roadmap. And yeah, I follow just about all senior leadership on Google across different social media networks. And now they've gone into complete vague posting mode, right? So everyone's just, dropping, 3 emojis or, replacing E's with 3s. Kind of a very popular kind of go to market strategy, I guess, nowadays for AI labs or AI products. Just a bunch of vague posting online. But there's been a lot of also kind of reported secret testing across different kind of AI creative platforms that have reportedly gotten access to Nano Banana 2 or Nano Banana Pro early, as well as all of the LLM testing playgrounds that have reportedly been have had versions of Gemini 3 for multiple months. So let's talk about some of the confirmed and also some of the rumors here. So Nano Banana Pro, reportedly first called Nano Banana 2. Well, maybe now it's going to be called Nano Banana Pro. And it is set to feature in Google Vids, Slides, and also Google's AI design apps. Promising significantly improved image and video generation. There's also a hidden promo inside of Google Vids that has mentioned generating beautiful images and videos with Nano Banana Pro. Also, the Pro label indicates this release will be powered by Gemini 3 Pro technology, a step up from the current Nano Banana model, which uses the Flash version. So the simultaneous rollout across Google's suite is in line with the company's strategy of upgrading its Gemini models broadly for maximum impact. So if the rumored advanced capabilities delivered, professionals can see faster workflows just about everywhere. So yeah, we've seen plenty of leaked screenshots, testing, both even on third-party platforms and even in Google's own platforms, right? We've seen very brief versions of Gemini 3 and different variants of Gemini 3 being tested even within Google's own platforms. So I would expect something to happen this week, according to reports. All right. And we will obviously be covering that if it does drop this week on Everyday AI. All right. That was a ton of updates in a short amount of time, but that wasn't all. All right. So we brought you the big AI news stories. So here's a bullet point roundup of some of the smaller news stories, still big, new features, new updates, rumors in our what's new and what's next section. Got to take a quick sip of the Nespresso before we get to this one. Here we go. Ready? For those of you taking notes, there's a lot. So Microsoft has released Copilot support for select TVs. Google announced a $40 billion data center investment in Texas. Yeah, it's a busy week when a $40 billion investment isn't even a top story. So Google also rolled out Nano Banana powered editing for Google Photos app, including on iOS. Big news story. All right, XAI may be raising another $15 billion round, according to reports. Cursor closed a $2.3 billion funding round, marking a $29 billion valuation. Replit announced their AI integrations across 300 models. Google started rolling out AI-powered workspace flows, which, my gosh, I'm excited to get to, but it's been a crazy busy week. Microsoft updated support for GPT-5.1, OpenAI's new model, in its Copilot Studio. 11 Labs launched their newest text-to-speech model, Scribe V2 Real-Time. Very impressive. Google is reportedly working on a multi-agent system in Gemini Enterprise, which looks extremely impressive. We shared about that in our newsletter last week. OpenAI released a prompt cookbook for GPT 5.1. Microsoft is making Copilot free for students. Google updated Gemini Live's capabilities. Very impressive under the hood updates. Google also announced their private AI compute. Gemini added VO3 video option for multiple reference images per input. So useful. All right, OpenAI, an OpenAI researcher, here we go. So yeah, we saw OpenAI release GPT 5.1, but a OpenAI researcher promised the better version of OpenAI's model that won IMO Gold coming soon. So OpenAI may not be done with big model updates this year. All right, Google's testing a stitch feature, or new stitch features with pitch deck generation, and new styles in GPT 5.1. Mentioned a couple of them earlier, but here is the complete list. We have the new default, professional, candid, quirky, friendly, efficient, nerdy, and cynical. So the complete list of new customizable personality responses inside ChatGPT with 5.1. Woo! That was a ton of AI news that mattered this week. I hope it was helpful. And y'all, let me just say, we have a banger week of episodes planned for you this week. If you are new here, like I said, on Mondays, we go over the AI news that matters. So you don't got to waste hours every single day trying to make sense of what all this means, right? We give you the no nonsense, no BS guide on Mondays. On Tuesdays, we do our Hot Take Tuesdays, where I give you a hot take on something new and trending in AI. On Wednesdays, we do Putting AI to Work Wednesdays, usually going over new modes or models across the big 4 AI providers. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, usually bring on super smart people across the industry to interview, have some great interviews lined up this week, next week, and beyond. So thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. If this was helpful for you, if you're listening on the podcast, please provide some support. If you could follow the show, leave us a rating. I'd appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.